Hello, and welcome to English Podcast with Missy. Here we learn English for real life. Clear, slow, and simple. Let's learn English together. Are you ready? Let's begin. Hi, dear friends. Welcome back to our peaceful space for English in life. I'm Missy. And today I want to tell you a story that's close to my heart. It's about one day. Just one. In a city I had never been to before. It wasn't planned. I didn't follow a tour. I simply woke up, packed my bag, and opened myself to adventure. Have you ever done that? Let's take a walk together through a brand new place where everything was unfamiliar and a little magical. Let's start. I arrived at the city station just after the sun came up. The sky was a soft blue, and the air still felt cool and fresh. My taxi was driving slowly through sleepy streets. The shops were still closed and the traffic was light. Through the window, I saw a fruit vendor setting up baskets on the sidewalk. He was carefully arranging apples, oranges, and bananas. A woman was sweeping dry leaves in front of a small cafe. The chairs were still stacked. The sign said, "Open at 8." While the driver was helping me with my bag, I was looking around, taking it all in. The city was quiet, but it was waking up. At the station, things were different. It was already busy. Buses were coming and going. Some people were saying goodbye to their families. Others were running to catch their train, dragging heavy suitcases behind them. A young couple nearby was taking selfies with their tickets. I took a deep breath. This is it, I thought. A full day in a new city, all on my own. No plans, no guide, just me and the city. After I found a small guest house and left my bags, I headed out with no plan. I didn't check the map. I just started walking and letting the streets guide me. The roads were narrow and winding. Old buildings stood close together with flower pots on the windowsills. Tiny balconies had clothes hanging out to dry. Colorful shirts, bed sheets, and baby clothes swaying in the breeze. Cats were stretching in the sun. A few dogs were sleeping near doorways. Bikes leaned against brick walls, some with little baskets in front. Suddenly, a delicious smell stopped me. Something sweet. Something warm. Maybe cinnamon? I turned a corner and found a bakery. The baker inside was placing hot bread on wooden trays. The glass windows were foggy from the oven heat. I stepped in. The warm air smelled like sugar and butter. I bought a small pastry. Soft, round, and still warm. I sat outside on a little wooden bench. While I was eating, I watched the city come alive. People were unlocking shop doors. School children in uniform were walking past with their backpacks. A couple was holding hands and laughing quietly. A man on a scooter waved at them. That moment felt simple and beautiful. I wasn't rushing. I wasn't checking the time, I was just being. Later that morning, I walked past a noisy street and turned into a small city park. It was peaceful, like a quiet green island in the middle of the busy city. There was a path around a little pond where ducks were swimming slowly. Tall trees offered shade and sunlight danced through the leaves. People were sitting on benches, some sipping coffee, others reading newspapers. I saw an old man feeding breadcrumbs to the birds. A group of young boys was playing soccer on the grass, shouting and laughing. Their parents were standing nearby, chatting and smiling. While I was watching them, a little girl ran past me holding a red kite. She smiled brightly as she ran back toward her family. I found a bench under a tree and sat down. I listened to the birds singing, the leaves rustling gently, and the occasional bark of a dog. People were jogging. Children were giggling. A woman was walking slowly with a baby in her arms. And I was simply breathing it all in, feeling calm, feeling present. No phone, no noise. Just this quiet moment in the middle of a new place. By noon, my stomach was rumbling. I hadn't eaten much since morning. The smell of food was everywhere. Spicy, smoky, and sweet. I walked along a street full of small restaurants and food stalls. One place caught my eye. It had red plastic chairs, a tiny kitchen, and a handwritten sign. No English menu. Just colorful pictures of food on the wall. While I was looking at the pictures, the cook behind the counter was stirring a giant pot. Steam was rising, and the smell was amazing. Garlic, pepper, maybe lemongrass. I smiled and pointed to a bowl of noodles. The cook nodded, shouted something into the kitchen, and handed me a small paper ticket. I sat down and waited. The chair wobbled a little, but I didn't mind. A few minutes later, my noodles arrived. Red chili oil floated on top, and fresh herbs were scattered across the bowl. I took one bite and, wow, it was delicious, but so spicy. My eyes watered. I started coughing and reached quickly for my water. At the next table, an older woman smiled and handed me a napkin. Her husband chuckled and said something kind in his language. We all laughed. We didn't speak the same words, but we shared the same moment. It felt real, and warm, and human. In the afternoon, I walked toward the town square. It was wide and open, surrounded by old buildings with beautiful windows and balconies. In the center stood a large fountain. Water was flowing gently. The sound made everything feel slower. Children were throwing coins into it and making wishes. I found a quiet spot near the edge and sat down. The stone was cool beneath me. I took out my notebook and pen. While I was writing, the city was moving all around me. A teenage boy nearby was practicing guitar. A family was posing for a photo. The father holding the baby, the mother fixing her hair. Vendors were selling cold drinks, handmade bracelets, and postcards. I wrote about my morning, about the peaceful park, about the kind couple at lunch, about the way it feels to walk without a plan. I wrote, "Sometimes the best things happen when you don't expect them. When you let the day surprise you." And as the afternoon sun warmed my face, I felt grateful. Grateful for this quiet moment in a city that once felt unfamiliar, but now felt like a little part of me. When evening came, the city lights turned on. The streets looked different, brighter, louder, and full of life. I walked to a popular street food area. People were everywhere. Some were standing in line. Others were already eating. Music was playing from a small speaker, and the smell of grilled food filled the air. While I was walking slowly through the crowd, I was looking at each food cart carefully. I wanted to try something new. The first cart I stopped at was selling grilled meat on wooden sticks. The vendor was turning the skewers over hot charcoal. Smoke was rising in the air. The smell was amazing. I bought one skewer and took a bite. It was crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, and just a little spicy. I loved it. I almost went back for another. Next, I saw a woman selling fried dumplings. While she was cooking, the dumplings were bubbling in a large pan of oil. She put 5 on a small plate with soy sauce. I took a bite. The outside was crunchy, and the inside was warm and full of vegetables. It tasted like comfort food. I smiled and said, "Delicious." Then I noticed a colorful stand with cups of shaved ice. The vendor was pouring syrup over the ice and adding red beans, jelly cubes, and coconut milk. It looked sweet and cold, perfect for a hot night. I tried one. It was interesting. Sweet and soft, but also kind of chewy. Not bad, but not my favorite. While I was trying to finish it, the woman at the stand was watching me. I gave her a little smile and she laughed kindly. As I kept walking, a young girl was standing with a basket of homemade cookies. Her mother was nearby, helping her sell. I bought one cookie, and wow, it was warm, soft, and full of chocolate. It reminded me of home. I told the little girl, "That's the best thing I've eaten tonight." She giggled and gave me one more. For free. After trying all those foods, I was full. I sat down on the steps of an old building with a cup of warm tea. While I was sipping slowly, the city around me was still busy. Lights flashing, people laughing, music playing. I wrote in my notebook, "Tonight, I didn't just eat food. I tasted the city." And that made me feel full in more ways than one. Okay, now it's grammar moment. Let's look at how I told this story. You may have noticed 2 different verb tenses. We use past simple for completed actions in the past. Examples: I arrived in the city. I bought a pastry. We use past continuous to describe actions that were happening at a specific time. It's often background, something in progress while another thing happened. Examples: the cook was stirring the noodles. I was writing in my notebook when a boy walked by. Let's use them together. Often, we use both tenses in the same sentence to set the scene and show what happened. I was tasting the dessert when the vendor smiled at me. While I was walking through the food market, I found the best dumplings. Using past simple and past continuous together helps your stories sound clear and natural. Focus on the main actions with past simple and describe the background with past continuous. Don't worry about mistakes. Practice makes progress. Keep trying, and you'll get better every day. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope you enjoyed exploring the city and learning new English with me. Remember, practicing small stories like this helps your English grow bit by bit. If you liked this episode, check the link in the description for the transcript and extra practice. And don't forget, if you've ever visited a new place or tried new food, please leave a comment and share your story with us. I love hearing from you. Take care of yourself and see you next time.